Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is a guy who runs a country that is a communist country that's based on a form of government totally different than ours. Anyway, we may
Tell Iran to stop attacking U.S. forces and waging the war. And Mr. President, after today, would you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term that you used earlier this year.
Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is a guy who runs a country that is. Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is a guy who runs a country that is.
President Biden claims real progress was made with China after a high-stakes meeting with Xi Jinping in San Francisco, a breakthrough on reopening military communication channels. The tensions over Taiwan continue.
The two most powerful men in the world face to face.
Ready, close. Ready.
US President Joe Biden greets China's leader Xi Jinping at a lavish retreat in California.
But as always, there's no substitute to face-to-face discussions.
It's just the second time they've met since Biden became president.
For two large countries like China and the United States, turning their back on each other is not an option. It is unrealistic for one side to remodel the other.
It was straight down to business. The talks lasted more than 4 hours, traversing significant ground from the wars in Gaza and Ukraine to the global economy. A deal too to slow the spread of the opioid fentanyl into America. But the biggest breakthrough, military communications channels back open. The US president warns without it, the consequences could be dire.
That's how accidents happen, misunderstandings.
Taiwan remains the biggest potential flashpoint. President Xi told Biden to stop arming the island, warning reunification is unstoppable. The talks cannot paper over the fundamental differences that divide the two nations.
And Mr. President, after today, would you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term that you used earlier this year.
Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is a guy who runs a country that is a communist country.
The Prime Minister a bystander to the diplomatic discussions as he touched down for the APEC summit with Pacific Rim leaders.
We need guardrails to make sure that we don't have misunderstandings or miscalculations that could lead to real issues and real conflict.
In the tech capital of America, Antony Albanese met the chairman and CEO of Microsoft. An opportunity to highlight the software giant's $5 billion investment in Australia's cyber footprint. This trip comes at an inconvenient time for the Prime Minister. He was here on the ground in America less than 3 weeks ago. But given APEC's Australian history, Antony Albanese felt he had no choice but to attend. Trudy McIntosh, Sky News in San Francisco.